The blood on the snow should have been the first warning. Jake Sullivan stood frozen in the doorway of his remote Montana cabin as the blizzard screamed through the trees. The porch light revealed a thin red trail cutting through fresh white snow, starting at the forest and ending at something small and dark curled against his steps. His heart pounded with a familiar rhythm, the same one that had followed him home from war and never quite left. He stepped into the cold and dropped to his knees. What lay there was barely alive, a tiny bundle of black fur shaking violently, its breathing shallow, its body stiff with cold. Jake lifted it against his chest and felt a faint heartbeat fighting to continue. Without thinking, he carried the creature inside, wrapped it in towels, warmed it by the fire, and fed it drop by drop through the night. By morning, it was still alive. That night quieted something inside Jake. For the first time in months, there were no explosions in his head, no faces from the past. Just breath, just warmth. He named the pup Shadow. Shadow grew fast, too fast. His eyes opened early, sharp and amber, and he learned without being taught. He moved through the forest as if he already knew it, as if the land remembered him. When Jake's nightmares came, Shadow pressed close, anchoring him to the present. By spring, Shadow was massive, bigger than any dog Jake had seen. His movements were silent, his intelligence unsettling. Wildlife avoided the cabin. Other dogs submitted or fled. The truth stopped being avoidable the day a mountain lion appeared at the edge of the clearing. Jake froze, unarmed, but Shadow stepped forward without hesitation. He didn't bark or charge. He warned. The lion backed away. That night, Jake searched for answers he didn't want. The veterinarian confirmed it. The DNA left no doubt. Shadow was a wolf, a northwestern wolf. Jake had raised a predator, a creature meant for the wild. The danger was obvious, but the bond was stronger. Shadow wasn't aggressive. He chose restraint. He chose Jake. When a wild pack appeared at the tree line weeks later, Shadow stood among them only briefly before returning to Jake's side. He had made his choice. The world noticed soon after. Videos spread. Officials arrived. Papers were filed. Shadow became a problem to be solved. Removal was discussed. Relocation. Words that felt like death. Then a grizzly wandered too close during an inspection. Shadow moved between the humans and the bear, claiming space without violence. The bear retreated. Silence followed. Everything changed. Special permissions were granted. Oversight imposed. Jake became a guardian instead of an owner. Shadow stayed. Years passed. Quiet years. Healing years. Shadow aged with dignity. His strength slowing but never fading. He protected hikers without touching them. Deterred danger simply by being present. The forest adjusted around him. Jake healed too. He slept through nights, laughed sometimes, learned how to exist without constantly bracing for impact. The pack still came and went. Shadow answered their calls but never left. He belonged to both worlds. The final winter arrived softly. Shadow slept more, ate less. His breath grew slower. When the veterinarian came, there were no urgent words, only gentle ones. Time. The pack gathered at the tree line on his final night. Shadow lifted his head and answered them once. When he passed, it was peaceful. His head rested on Jake's knee, his eyes steady until the very end. At dawn, Jake carried him into the forest and laid him beneath a pine overlooking the valley. The pack watched and howled. Jake stood with them, not separate, not afraid. Life went on. Jake remained in the cabin. The mountains still breathed. The nights still howled. And sometimes, when the moon rose full, Jake howled back. Not in grief, in gratitude. Because once, in the middle of a storm, two broken lives had found each other. And that had been enough.